The chairman of the Bundestag's Defense Committee, Thomas Röwekamp, said that NATO must act more decisively against Russian attacks. He believes that the alliance should start shooting down drones over Ukraine and also give Kiev the opportunity to strike targets deep inside Russian territory. He said this in a commentary to Spiegel. According to Röwekamp, NATO has proven its ability to repel attacks on its territory. However, air defense capabilities need to be improved. We still face very serious challenges in the area of air defense, especially in countering a massive drone attack, said the chairman of the Bundestag's Defense Committee. Röwekamp stressed that Germany's contribution in this area must be increased. He is also sure that Russia's production facilities and launch pads from which Russian drones are launched must be destroyed. It is important that NATO partners quickly equip Ukraine so that it can also take action against these targets on Russian soil, Röwekamp added. The head of the Bundestag's Defense Committee said that coordination within NATO is needed to determine when the alliance should help shoot down drones in other countries' airspace. In particular, he suggested shooting down drones over Ukraine, but only with its consent. Earlier, Bloomberg, citing a source, wrote that NATO was preparing defensive military measures in response to the Russian drone invasion of Poland. The goal is to strengthen deterrence on the alliance's eastern flank. According to the source, in order to discuss personal issues, a political response to the drone incursion into Poland will also be adopted. The military response will be coordinated by NATO's Supreme Allied Commander Europe, Alexis Grinkevich, who is responsible for planning and conducting all military operations for the alliance. The source claims that NATO Command is currently assessing the situation and determining what supplies, if any, will be needed. Grinkevich said, "We have a lot more to do in the future. Currently, the member countries of the alliance are engaged in improving weapons, which allows us to reduce the costs of conducting military operations. We will continue to do this together with all countries of the alliance." He noted that the alliance will learn lessons. We will learn what we need to improve our position and counter these limited incursions.
SBU drones struck the largest oil loading port of the Russian Federation in the Baltic Sea, Primorsk. Fires broke out in the port and at the pumping station, oil loading was suspended. SBU reported this. This night, drones of the Security Service of Ukraine hit the largest Russian oil loading port on the Baltic Sea, which is the final destination of the Baltic pipeline system. Primorsk is a key hub for loading the Shadow Fleet, with the help of which the Russian Federation bypasses international sanctions and sells oil on foreign markets. About 60 million tons of oil pass through the port annually, which brings Russia about $15 billion, the source noted. It is reported that as a result of a successful attack by SBU drones on one of the ships in the port and at the pumping station, fires broke out, and oil loading has been suspended. Estimated daily losses to the Russian budget from the cessation of exports could amount to up to $41 million. The SBU forces also struck a number of Russian oil pumping stations, NPS 3, NPS Andriapol, NPS 7. As is known, they are key elements of the main pipeline system that ensures the supply of crude oil to the U.S. Teluga port terminal. The SBU was the first to systematically introduce so-called drone sanctions against the Russian oil industry. They block the flow of petrodollars into the aggressor's budget. And since the Russian economy is based on oil, every such bang hits their ability to fight against our state. These sanctions will continue until a just peace comes to Ukraine, noted an informed source in the SBU. Let us recall that on the night of September 12, in the Leningrad region, unknown drones struck the Primorsk oil loading port, and one of the ships caught fire. SBU drones also successfully struck 3 oil pumping stations, which are part of a pipeline system funneling crude to the U.S. Teluga port terminal in Leningrad Oblast. The statement comes after Russian officials and media reported a large-scale drone attack targeting Leningrad Oblast, Moscow, and other areas overnight on September 12. Russian air defenses intercepted 221 Ukrainian drones across the country overnight, the Russian Defense Ministry claimed the morning after the strike. Residents of Leningrad Oblast reportedly said the attack was one of the most massive strikes on the region since the start of the full-scale war in 2022.
Вон грибочек поднялся, хорошенький. Сейчас еще будет.
Air Defense Forces intercepted and destroyed 221 Ukrainian fixed-wing drones over the Russian regions overnight, including 9 over the Moscow region, the Russian Defense Ministry reported. Over the past night, air defense systems on duty intercepted and destroyed 221 Ukrainian fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles, 85 over Bryansk region, 42 over Smolensk region, 28 over Leningrad region, 18 over Kaluga region, 14 over Novgorod region, 9 each over Oryol region and the Moscow region, 7 over Belgorod region, 3 each over Rostov and Tver regions, and 1 each over Pskov, Tula and Kursk regions, the ministry stated. Leningrad Governor Alexander Drozdenko said a fire had broken out on a vessel in the port of Primorsk, a major facility on the Baltic Sea, but the blaze had been brought under control and there was no risk of an oil spill. An open fire on a vessel has been extinguished in the port of Primorsk. There is no threat of flooding or spillage of oil products, Regional Governor Alexander Drozdenko reported on Telegram. He added that a pumping station fire in Primorsk was also put out. Residents of the Leningrad region and St. Petersburg reported explosions, describing one of the most massive attacks on the oblast since the start of the full-scale war. The strikes disrupted air traffic at St. Petersburg's Pulkovo Airport, where 28 flights were delayed, 13 cancelled, and 11 diverted, according to RIA Novosti. Explosions were also reported in the Kursk, Bryansk, and Moscow regions. In the Odintsovo and Narofominsk districts near Moscow, residents described hearing multiple blasts overnight. Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin said 7 drones were shot down over the capital region. The attacks came after Poland, which borders Ukraine, accused Russia of launching a drone raid on its territory this week. Moscow has denied targeting the country and said there was no evidence the drones were Russian.